Hey everybody, it is April 1st and I am Lisa Mitzel and we are doing a read-along with my book, Focused and on Fire, and today is the third session and the book is called Focused and on Fire, The Athlete's Guide to Mental Training and Kicking Butt. And this is actually the original cover if you have this book. This came out in 2017 and it's the same book, just a different cover. And I also have for parents and coaches, this is Focused and Inspired, keeping our athletes safe in a win-at-all-cost world. And this is on positive psychology and emotional intelligence and healthy motivation and a lot of really important things in order to create a partnership with the athletes. But kids, this is for us right now, and adults, parents and coaches, you can join us. Coaches, this is really helpful for you to be able to have the language and terminology for the inner journey in sports. I coach primarily gymnasts in mental training, and I do clinics, and I coach one-on-one. I use FaceTime. So we're going to start with a story today in chapter 1. We're still in chapter 1, which is called Your Brain is a Muscle. And we're reading Map It, Believe It, Achieve It. And this is about the Stanford women's gymnastics team. So Stanford, I want to give you a shout out. Hey, go Card. I used to be the head coach there. And I'm wearing a Utah shirt. I am an alum and competed for the University of Utah. And I'm going to do a Go Utes. And hey, Crystal, I want to say shout out to the team there and Coach Tom Farden and everybody in Utah. I'm thinking about you, especially since the college season and the gymnastics season ended short this year due to coronavirus. And I wanted to say, hey, we're all at home and we can all stay connected. And this is Athena. I want to introduce Athena. She is a wise owl, and if you know in Greek mythology, some of you may know that there was a Greek goddess named Athena, and she was known for knowledge and fairness and wisdom, and she often had an owl on her shoulder, or she transformed into an owl. So Athena reminds me to be my highest self and to seek wisdom. So Athena is always with us. So let's go ahead and read. You can have your book if you have your notebook with you and take notes. And we're continuing with chapter 1. Map it, believe it, achieve it. Oh, and let me just say a really quick shout out to Rebecca Case Lawler. Hi, Rebecca, and her staff at AIM Gymnastics in New Orleans. She sent me a text this morning, and I'm so excited you guys are following, along with Redmond Gymnastics in Oregon. And anybody else who's following, send me a message in all the description below the video. You can reach me at heymitz@gmail.com or go to my website, lisamitzel.com, and you can buy the books there. There's a Focus Books page if you don't have your book, okay? All right, here we go. Map it, believe it, achieve it. We had 9 women on the team for the 95-96 season. 3 freshmen, 4 sophomores, 1 junior, and 1 senior. Very small and very young. It was my first year as head coach at Stanford University for women's gymnastics. In the history of the program, they had made it once to the NCAA National Championships, and that was 4 years earlier. They wanted to break into that level again. Yet talent was an issue, and worse than that, when they arrived for preseason training, I observed these young women, and they did not think or act like a top team. They lacked that confidence, drive, and grit, and I wanted to change that. And that's very common, you know, all of us athletes and coaches and parents, we notice when we're lacking some motivation, when we're lacking or the kids are lacking some confidence, but we can change that. We can build that up. As a college gymnast in the 80s, I competed for the University of Utah. We were the best in the nation. During my 4 years on the team, we won 4 consecutive NCAA National Championships. It's true. Under Greg Marsden, one of the winningest coaches in college sports, I learned. Hey Mars man, how's it going? We had extremely disciplined practices, killer conditioning, and consistent mental training with our sports psychologist, Dr. Keith Henshin. The mental training was powerful, and on top of that, Utah had fiercely determined athletes. Every gymnast trained with a boldness I admired. I was motivated every day because they had sass and vision. Greg urged us to be close. He drilled us into the strongest and leanest bodies. He led us and said we would be the fittest team on the floor with focused minds and exact performances. We would win. And we did. I wanted to infuse that into Stanford. In fall preseason training one day, I entered the Stanford gym with a map. We had talked with the team about their goal to make it to nationals, and I had an idea. I unfolded the chart of the United States of America, and I showed it to the girls, saying, "Here we are in California," and I tapped on Palo Alto, California. "Nationals are in," and I pointed way across the map, "Tuscaloosa, Alabama." I folded my arms and said, "We are going to Alabama." Their eyes grew wide and they smiled. I had a red marker and made a red dot where we were in Palo Alto and another dot where we were going, Tuscaloosa. I taped the map to the wall in the gym right by bars. Every extra hard practice you do, we will draw a small red line toward Alabama. Every conditioning round, every bike circuit, every early morning aerobics, you will be stronger, more focused, and more disciplined than ever before. You will become a top team, and you will earn your way to Alabama. So this story has a good ending. And I want to say, hey, Tabitha Yim, you are so awesome, and I'm so excited for the team, how much you guys did this year and how you're going to keep going. So let's continue with the story here. I could feel my own determination buzzing in my body, and as the team looked at me and the map, I could also feel their energy. It was palpable. Over the following weeks, we drilled and drilled. Lots of basics, solid technique, perfect form, repetition, repetition. We broke down the gymnasts physically till they cramped and moaned. It was exhausting and thrilling. Then we had team talks, intense talks. They were asked to reveal personal challenges, doubts, fears, to acknowledge their own conflicts and struggles. The girls got to know each other deeply, and in kind, they supported each other in every way. They pushed each other to overcome, to work harder, and to draw red lines on the map and keep going and going. And the drive began. In the locker room, they kept a team journal, and the women randomly took turns entering positive, inspiring messages to each other. Writing and reading those messages kept them hooked into believing nationals was possible. So that's a tip for you parents and for you kids out there. All right, when you think it, write it, and then you say it. Anything that you want, you can actually start believing more and more that what you want is going to come true. And so that's a mental practice, is think it, write it, read it, say it, visualize it, anything that you want. In the winter, we started competition. I said, now you need to tell someone 10 times a day, we're going to nationals. A friend, a parent, a dog, anyone, tell them you're going. They paused and they got quiet. This isn't bragging or wishing, I explained. You are being assertive. You are taking action and spreading positive belief. You are saying what you want and what you will do. They looked at each other, hesitant, but a new challenge stirred inside of them. Soon I had daily phone messages. Hey, Coach, we're going to nationals. Coach, see you in Alabama. Coach, did you know we're going to nationals? Ha 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 ha. They took it seriously. It was fun, and they started to become fierce. They strutted into the gym, arms swinging and heads held high. They shared with each other who they were telling, who was excited for them, and also who believed in them. They kept marking red lines on the map. They were building mental powers. They were beginning to believe. The season progressed. We competed every week. Going against UCLA, Arizona State, and other dynamic teams was not easy because we were not winning. We had to remind our Stanford gymnasts the journey is a process. Keep your eyes on each other. Focus on your performances. Don't watch the other team. They listened, they refocused, and soon our team was breaking Stanford school records. Other coaches and teams took notice, and our routines were getting solid scores from the judges. This was evidence. We were emerging as confident competitors. In practice, we sat in a circle and imagined. We talked about Alabama, what Tuscaloosa looked like, the 2-hour time difference, Southern culture, which famous barbecue restaurant would we eat at, and we performed national competition in our gym as a mock meet, during which the team pretended to go against the other teams that were typically at nationals. We imagined being there, and we rehearsed the determination and focus for the stage. As we approached NCAA regionals, that long red dotted line on the map from California to Alabama was complete. When the team saw it, in some way, it cemented all of their hard work. They had earned it. And by the time we arrived at NCAA regionals, the Stanford team had evolved. They had created courage and honed a calm stance, and before competing beam in every meet, they blocked everyone out. It was a mental ritual I taught them, and they gathered in a circle. They held hands and closed their eyes and took a deep breath together and stood very still, breathing as one. The crowd made noises, music played, and our opponents rumbled, but our team focused solely on themselves. Going inward and connecting with each other gave them inner power. It made them believe in their abilities and the strength of the team's energy. We were one of the most consistent beam teams in every meet we competed. Finally, after 6 months of preparation, the night arrived. NCAA Regional Championships were hosted at UCLA. Now, this was the determining factor to see if we were going to qualify to nationals. Our team knew it was the deciding meet. I could feel the tension. After warm-ups, the petite 9 women were dressed and set in sweats and ponytails. It was time to march into the arena for competition. We all gathered in a circle, put our hands in, took a deep breath, and looked at each other. They smiled, and one of the women shouted out, "Okay, let's do this. 1, 2, 3. And then everyone yelled, "Go, Stanford!" And they were ready. You may not believe it, but that night was not that night in competition. It wasn't about nationals. It was about who they were and who they had become as athletes and how they matured as competitors and who they wanted to be for each other. And oh, how Stanford did it. With Athena-like valor, the gymnasts transcended, flying high, nailing dismounts, and peaking at regionals. When it was all over, and when the scores were in and double-checked, Stanford University had qualified to the 1996 NCAA National Championships. Stanford Gymnastics was going to Alabama. And there's a picture of a map. We did it! And I'm so excited that you're joining me. We're going to continue in my next video. The next section is about developing a higher mind, and we're going to talk about mindsets for success. And the mindset for this chapter, there's a new positive mindset in every chapter, and this one is called volition. and we'll talk about that and how we have kick butt practices and exercises at the end of each chapter. So another quick shout out to somebody who's my really good friend, former UCLA coach and gymnast, and well, he was a gymnast at another school, and but awesome gymnastics professional, and his name is Coach Randy Lane, and I actually I have his pen, CRL, Coach Randy Lane. And he does advising, professional advising and guidance for recruiting and getting in touch with college coaches. So I want to say another thanks, Stanford University and University of Utah and all the teams that I've worked with, University of Michigan. I'm just thinking about all of you guys. And get focused and on fire, do your mental training, and I'll talk to you next time. All right? Talk to you soon. Bye.